It sounds real good, like real good. I want to talk about dirty things. All right, so here we are again. Today is what is today? I don't know what today is. Today is the date is it is going to be a Tuesday. Let me look on the 24th, I believe, right? The 24th. So Tuesday, the 24th of August. A lot has been since the last time we did a podcast. We had one guest, scheduling issues went down, so that didn't go. But you know, it's the nature of the beast. Again, the goal is to always try to get to where maybe we're doing at least one a week. I do one a day if they let me, but I don't know what we talk about. But in the absence, I think that I just wanted to get out here and with a podcast. We're going to have a guest today, but start out today, but just, filling in what's been going on. I think the biggest thing, Naveed, is I've been in Facebook jail now before I left for the beach. So since the last podcast, I feel we went to the beach, came back to the beach, started soccer, and that's where we are. But in that, I was put into Facebook jail.
For 30 days, right?
30 days. I'm on day 20, I believe. So I got like a little over a week left. And I've said a lot of, like, if you go back and listen, every podcast, I'm like, yeah, Facebook is great because I get to keep in touch with everybody. Yeah. Man, but fuck Facebook. That's what we get to say on this podcast. Fuck Zuck and fuck Facebook. Not because it is what it is. Like, and I'm on the fence. Like, you can talk through this too a little bit. Like, Facebook, YouTube, things like that have become more than just websites. They're sort of like almost like a utility. You know, we don't have phone books anymore. We Google things. You know what I mean? So there's some credit where credit due. It's a service, and I will always, at this point, I can't say always, but I'm thankful for Facebook because it's kept me in touch with some people. But damn it, I got on a post, and someone was bitching about their day, having to go to work and do all that, and I just thought I'd be noodles and chime in with my normal shit, and I absolutely just said, quote, I am going to buy weed. And I said that, and that was it. I'm going to buy weed.
See, what I didn't understand about that is you've posted pictures.
I post pictures. I post videos of me smoking. I've been on there, Facebook Live, smoking, talking about my legal medicine with my legal card and all that good stuff. Yeah. So that's where they got me. So good and bad. Good being I don't get caught up in as much trivial BS as I would first thing in the morning. But I do anyways because the news is on. So I hear the news.
You miss it?
No, absolutely not. There's nothing I miss about Facebook right now. I miss part of it is I miss posting pictures and saying what's going on. You know what I mean? Now we have a podcast. I really don't. That's not something I can miss. I can fill you in with great detail now. If you're bored enough to listen to me, I can tell you about all the things. Yeah. So that sucked, the Facebook jail thing, and it still sucks, man. Like and. The bigger thing about it is that's censorship. They're censoring what, and I don't believe, like I do believe in all that, fight for your freedom and all that stuff. The freedoms, one of our freedoms, our biggest freedoms is being able to say what the hell we want to, you know what I mean? And I get it. Like I get the rules of certain platforms, you know what I mean? That's why we don't play crazy movies during the day that kids might watch, things like that. But they can just zap you at any moment. Like they did to Trump. You know what I mean? They absolutely.
It's arbitrary, right? Or it seems like that.
Oh, yeah. Well, they're going to blame it on the algorithm and this and that and no one person. Now, there's a person out there that reported me. You know what I mean? That's the problem. And in this country, one of the great things about this country, right or wrong, if you're wrong as anything, as wrong as two little boys doing it, you get to face your accuser. I want to know who has a problem with me saying I'm going to buy weed. I want to know who that bitch is.
You're not gonna
bitch. I said I could say it on the internet. I love it. Yeah, I want to know who, because that's what kind of, that's what that is a snapshot of what has become in our country. You don't like what the hell somebody says, instead of saying it to them, you go around the back and get them in trouble.
Yeah.
Right?
Keyboard warriors.
Yeah. And it's, and someone has gotten in trouble in the past for what they've said to me on social media, but I wasn't the one that went and fought that battle. Other people picked up the guide on for Noodles and said, hey, man, what you said to him was wrong. And they went above and beyond in my book to make sure that person was punished. That's not on me, man. That person got what they deserved in my book. You don't go around talking about people like that if you don't want the punishment. That's, you know what I mean? There's a lot of shit I'd like to say that I just don't say, just because I don't want to deal with the aftermath. Not that I couldn't handle it. You know what I mean? I can handle a lot of things. I just don't want to handle it.
I stay away from it.
There's no point in it. There's no point in fighting with people all the time, especially dummy. You know, me and you, we're always right. When me and you talk, we are always like, I'm trying to think what we disagreed on. Right?
Yeah, I can't.
No disagreement.
I can't remember what it was. I'm sure it was something.
Nah. Yeah, you would say that.
Well, no, like
you're right.
You know what?
Yeah,
you can't. Nowadays, you can't try to bring some common sense to anybody. Like if you start.
No, you're getting attacked, dude. You're attacked for for considering that. Like, okay, I have an opinion, and you're gonna try to kick some common sense to me in your opinion. You're gonna tell me something about my opinion, why it should be this or that. Already nowadays, I'm not listening to you. I'm not. You know what I mean? People will not even have the and that's and I think I said that, communication. It's not black or white. It's not money or no money. It's not I live here or I live there. Guess what? Communication. People don't know how to talk to people anymore, good or bad. Yeah. You know, people don't say, hey, man, you helped me out. That's cool. Thank you. You know what I mean? I love when people tell me that.
I stay quiet because I get in trouble.
Right.
Because a lot of what I say comes from a lot of background.
Right.
And we've got 5 minutes.
Right, and they don't get the background.
In 5 minutes, whatever I say comes off offensive.
Right.
Or you know.
Right, and if you don't, and if you can't handle, a lot of people can't handle that. A lot of people can't handle bluntness or truth or. See, this is me. This is where I'm gonna try to be like, we're gonna good cop, bad cop. I'm actually gonna be the padding guy. I'm gonna say, them freaking weasels. You know what I mean? Like, cause that's what they are. They're always looking for a way out. You know what I mean? I'm gonna give them some cushion. Like, I get not always wanting to struggle. So when you're struggling, you want an easy way out. There's always people looking for an easy way out. I'll give them that, but not everything can be easy.
What do you mean? What do you
pick your about? Easy thing? So say let's put on the table. We have A, B, and C are difficult things in life, right? Maybe those that we see as successful, A, B, and C, all of them come easy to them. Right? They're super successful, A, B, and C, whether it be food, shelter, and water. That's fucking real easy. Food, shelter, and water. The pro soccer player, just put it in context, got all the food, shelter, and water they want. You know what I mean? So we all need those things. I'm not against you taking the easy route to get your food, because shelter and water has been so hard, but you got shelter and water. You went out and got it. You did the hard work. So maybe I'm skimming on but I'm still getting it. Okay, I get it. We're humans. That's where, you know what I mean? Not everybody can be that, you know what I mean? Where everything comes easy to us, you know what I mean? But if you're that type of person, then you're giving it the effort, and I'm not doing it unless it's easy, you know what I mean? Where are you getting your food, shelter, and water from? The guy that
mommy or daddy or providing
right,
it.
Or we want this person up here that this shit comes easy to. In our book, It comes easy because we don't know their struggle. Just like you said, they get the first 4 minutes. They don't know that 40 years prior to those first 4 minutes of getting to know you. Oh man, he's a real asshole. Yeah. No, I just don't put up with bullshit. Why? Because for 40 years I've been bullshitted. You know, not saying that's the situation, but it could very easily be that. So, and then we go to Facebook jail, and it's some more like, I hate to be so negative on all that's going on, but let's not be negative. Let's not be negative. Let's transition a little bit.
All right, transition.
We got to transition. We started with Facebook jail, got us to how people are acting. We see how we're gonna get. So one of the things that's also going on is, and this is happening local here where we're shooting from, and home to me, is the kids are going back to school. Masks, no masks. Parents should have a say so, don't have a say so. Now it's to the point where, like, where Jackson's going to school now, Holden's homeschooled, where Jackson goes to school, he has to wear a mask in the building. Excuse me. Not at lunch and not outside the building. And I don't have a dog in the race. I want Jackson to stay at home. I don't want him to go to school.
Yeah.
I am a little leery about, like conspiracy theory. What are the fuck they going to teach these kids? And people can say, oh, they don't have none. Well, they're going to teach them that these masks are protecting them from COVID. And that's not a fact, is it?
Talk to psychiatrists.
Right? Yeah. There's
what
so many.
What the effect of the mask is.
Right. Yeah. Masking.
Like, put the safety aside.
Yeah.
Right? How it's conditioning us. Stay away from somebody.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 6 feet away. 6 feet. 6 feet.
That's not
Look
normal.
what the fuck is going on in San Francisco. Passed a law.
Yeah.
So anything under $950 is a misdemeanor.
Damn.
Anything under $950, brother. And it's like I told Molly, I said, I'm not that person, but I could very easily see why, hey, man, if it's a struggle to put diapers in here, I can go in here and grab 5 or 6 packs and walk out the door. And they did an interview with the cop, and it was on television. I don't know if it's real or not. But they did an interview with the CVS guard. A couple of the guards wouldn't. No, it was on a video I watched. Yeah, it was on the YouTube. The guard said it, man. We can't touch him.
Yeah.
And
they're walking out. They're walking out.
No, they're not walking out. They're stopping at the security guard and saying, "Hey, man, 6 feet, 6 feet, back your ass up, dude."
I was telling
right, and what do you do? What do you do? Go get sued? Because I was gonna I put the cuffs on him, but I was 3.5 foot. You know what I mean? Like, seriously, you can't arrest these security guards can't do nothing.
It scares me. It scares me.
And we don't have that around here, though. Where we live here in Maryland and Northern Virginia, this area, the DC metro. Although we got as many wackos as anywhere else in the country. They all wear suits and stuff. But what was I getting on to? We don't see that. We
not yet.
Not yet. Yeah. And as close as you would think, and because those that think that kind of way are keyed in, they're keyed into every major city in the country. You know what I mean? Every major city is acting like a bunch of idiots right now, and everybody around the major cities are paying the price, the suburbs. You know what I mean? Regardless, even the smart people can't outvote the dummies, or the people with influence, should I say? You know what I mean? Because and this is one of those things that I personally believe it's the influencers are the ones whose votes are being cast per se. You know what I mean? So if you're on the right team, if you're on that side right now, you're getting all the votes cast your way. You know what I mean? And it kind of sucks. So they're forcing these masks on our kids. So I'm stuck because I did let Jackson go back when it was partial, half day in school. You know what I mean?
Are you going to pull him out?
Right now, he's going to school. Right now, he's going to go to school and wear a mask. Only because that was her only argument, bro, was you let him go last year. And I did.
Last year with a mask.
With a mask, yeah. They went back like 2 days a week. And then they did 2 days.
I still say the first 2-3 weeks of this, of this whole COVID and everything, was different. First 2 or 3 weeks, I was going to the store, wiping my hands down 2 or 3 times. Yeah. It was like, whoa, you don't know. But we're a year and a half into this.
I never went that route. And my kids, we've traveled all over. We've been to the beach twice.
Yeah.
We've been to all kinds of soccer tournaments, stayed in hotels, ate out at restaurants, visited friends, visited family. We did all that.
We had 48 packs of toilet paper in the house.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But see, my dad still does that shit, though. So we're COVID ready all the time. My dad grew up in the freaking his parents were like Depression era kids. You know what I mean? So they stockpiled shit. We always had shit stockpiled. That was never a problem. What the problem was I couldn't get any money out of it. Second, toilet paper was out of control. I was like, hey, I got a bunch of shit tickets. No one wanted to buy them from me. You know what I mean? I was trying to get the $20 roll of shit. That shit wasn't. Major cities, maybe.
You want me to call him?
No, yeah. Let me see. Let me send him a message. Like I said, we got a guest now. He's got some more stuff to talk about. So, if where is he at? Here we go. Let me see if I can message him. Here we go. Let's just step away from the mic. Oh shit! If I could type, that'd be one thing. That's another skill they don't teach anymore.
They don't teach writing anymore, man.
They don't. Well, they definitely don't do cursive. No, there's no cursive. There's printing. I don't even know that I can write cursive anymore. I can. It still looks terrible though. All right. I just sent him a message. So I got a really cool guest that's coming on that we're gonna do. So that we can get some of this to response. We're still on the Mask for Kids. So I lost that. Like I didn't lose. I mean,
look, it's really touchy, right?
There's so many fights right now, and
we had a good friend of ours in soccer a long time ago when Amna was probably, I don't know, 8.
Right.
And he actually messaged my wife because she had posted something
about COVID,
about the mask or something.
Yeah.
And he said, "I hope you die." Right, like that's how touchy it is today.
Some folks.
So I try as much as possible to stay away from it.
How come no one wants to tell me to die like that? Like, because then I'm gonna go find them and make them die me. Make me die. You know what I mean? Like, I hate people. That's evil words.
Like, it is evil words, but look at where it's coming from.
Yeah, where it's hurt though, man.
That's what I told my wife. It's like, look, where is it coming from? It's out of
fear.
It's out of fear.
Consider the source.
It's out of fear.
Yeah. Right? And where's he at today? And did she die? Oh, here we go. We're getting a little response. Johnny boy. Okay, cool. So we got about 2 minutes. Gonna tell him I'm gonna video call him so he knows. All right. So hold on, let me do a little intro then.
Is he ready?
He said 2 minutes. I'm typing in all caps lock.
See, you're too used to typing with your thumbs on your phone.
No, I'm good at typing. These keys are too like spread out for me. I'm used to it being together. Yeah, I can type really well. That's what I'm saying.
You need one of those punch typewriters.
Fucking. And then
I learned on one of those.
All kinds of shit pop up. Video chat you.
That's all the porn that Hassan watches.
He don't watch no porn, does he? You caught him yet? Yeah. I haven't caught him. Hold on. I know he knows about stuff. Like, I know he knows, but I haven't caught him. I'm trying to bust him. I would embarrass him. Like, Hassan, I got caught with porn a couple times. I think my dad knew I was ordering videos once, and then I think I got caught with magazines.
Who was that lady that married that old guy with
Pamela Anderson?
No. The one before that. She married this really old.
That's Pamela Anderson.
No, with the big tits.
Pamela Anderson? Blonde hair?
It wasn't Pamela Anderson.
Nicole something. Nicole.
Right,
the Playmate. Nicole. What was her name?
I'm like 12 or 13 years old.
I don't even remember what she looks like. I know she had a kind heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what
she looks like.
I think she had a kind heart too.
Nicole something. Fuck, now it's going to bother me.
But I'm sitting in the living room, 12 years old, and I would have gotten my ass kicked, right?
Right.
And it was some, back then, regular cable TV.
Yeah.
Of course, in our house, we always had that remote control that didn't work.
Yeah.
So I'm watching it.
Trying to change it. No.
All of a sudden, I see my mother walk down the hall.
You couldn't change
Motherfucker, that was the first time that shit. As soon as she stands there, then it works.
Oh, nice.
Shit.
She's caught you?
Hell yeah.
Oh, man.
I played stupid. I was like, I don't know what happened.
Dude, like, I got some funny stories. I don't know. My mom wouldn't let me tell him if she was still alive, but she's not alive, so I could tell her. She caught me in some precarious situations. Poor old woman, man. The shit we put our parents through. Yeah. And now I'm searching it. I don't think, like, it's different, though. And that's something we can talk about real quick till dumb dummy. Oh, let me intro this guy a little bit. This is a friend. Let me talk about this. So, I try to stay away from not stay away from the Army stuff, but it's like I'm trying to let everything leak out, and then it's kind of like building a relationship. This podcast, so when we do finally have people more than just us and our friends that listen, so they'll go back and listen, they'll find out pieces of us and know more about us and our show and what we're about, as opposed to just giving them the whole shotgun blast in the beginning. This is who Noodles and Naveed are, and this is what they know, and and who their friends are, and then no one wants to pay attention. So we're gonna make them pay attention. By letting it leak. But so I went to, in my last deployment for the Army, before, everybody knows Jason got blown up in 2008, but I didn't really get, whatever happened. My truck got hit by an 80. On this deployment, I volunteered for in 2007 because my nephew Mark was going to go, and he was in Alpha Company, 1st and 115th to the Maryland National Guard. So I decided I was going to go volunteer to deploy with him. And I did. So I was probably a couple weeks because of everything, whatever went on. Had some stuff to do back home. Not important. I followed on behind the unit. In following on, of course, I met some people, made some stories, even before I got to Iraq. So those stories will follow on. But this guy was sort of in the same situation. So he was, if I can remember correctly, and he'll correct me when he gets on here, but he's from New England area, Boston, Massachusetts area. Really cool guy, but he volunteered also. So he volunteered for Massachusetts just to go to war. So he, by himself with his bags, 40 years old, had just re-enlisted back into the Army, and he wanted to go do his part and fight for his country. So he came to Iraq and just so happened to volunteer with the unit I had volunteered with. So I met John Melson that way. And I believe at the time he was a Sergeant E5 and I was a Staff Sergeant E6. So I outranked him, but he was another squad leader. So it was like, had nothing to do with anything. It was all, we were, same basically skill level. We're squad leaders, so we had the same job. So in that, with how military works, you get to know the people that do the same job as you. Although I had soldiers of my own to attend to, he had soldiers of his own to do. And he did things a different way, which was really cool. And we'll talk more about that. But he's just a super success story and someone that's still in the Army now and still doing it. He just went to Sergeant's Majors Academy and Fort Bliss, Texas. So that's the highest enlisted rank. He's got all the schools needed to be promoted. He's just waiting on the list to be promoted. A lot of times it's fill a slot, find a job for him, and then he'll get promoted. So that's that. And there's a lot more to the guy. Super cool. He just did some stuff for Muscle and Fitness magazine. That's neat. And like I said, he's in the Army still. He's a good story. If we still have American heroes, he's one, because he doesn't differentiate. And that's the problem, I think, a little bit of today. We differentiate. Oh, I got this awesome skill, but I differentiate who I give this skill to or who benefits from the skill. He's not one of them. You know what I mean? He is a soldier, and that's probably why he's a sergeant major. And that's probably why I retired. That's probably why I retired as staff sergeant. Hold on, let me send him a message.
He said he's ready.
Huh? He's typing. I'm typing. Here he goes. He's ready. So I need to go back. Right, Naveed, back. Hit the record. Oh no. You do it. Oh, and there we go. So the first part will be weird. I'll just go there. Okay, now I just hit call, right?
Yeah. Now just make the call.
All right. Oh, let me make sure this is there. You go. Look, even his picture is cool. And then I gotta ask permission to get his shit. There we are, Melson.
Hey, what's up, bro?
How are you? Listen to that, Naveed. Hold on, I'm gonna turn the computer real quick so you can see my dude. Naveed, this is John Melson. So there you are. All right, so the technical difficulties. Now, John, remember, we'll preface it. Anything that we talk about, I'm gonna send it to you. We'll send it to you and let you look at it. But before, I want to steal some pictures off of your Facebook. Is that cool? Like some of your military stuff and some of your big muscles. And because what we don't fill with video that goes onto YouTube will be pictures of you. And and then, it'll go to Spotify also and Apple Podcasts. So when we do it, probably in the next day or two, you'll be able to say, here, share it to your Facebook and do it. I can't because I'm in Facebook jail. Look at you though. Did you see this guy is a fucking monster? So and we just figured this out, Melson. So we'll be able to put, man, look at you. Don't look a day fucking older, man. So this is the guy I'm telling you about. So I knew this would happen. We get to talking. I have these great ideas. I say, Naveed, I know a guy. And if we want to talk about the military or something like that, or fathers, like a big thing about this, John, is, I can find 100 million people to talk about the military now. Everybody's served, everybody's deployed, everybody's got an experience. That's good. We can talk about it a million times. You can go find them podcasts. The thing you did, all that you've done, and you're still doing, but you're still a father, just like you said to me tonight. 7:30, we could not talk. We could not meet. Listen, this is how important John Melson is. He's about to be on the best podcast to hit the podcast nations. And he said, hey, man, you're going to have to give me an hour. So my kid's got something. And I totally get it, and some people, John, believe it or not, some people don't understand it. Sometimes, and the military never understood that a lot of times. You know what I mean? So that's something that we as military fathers in the military had to do. And then me getting out, something I deal with and something you're doing. And I'll tell you, Naveed's big to this. He's a soccer dad, and these dogs are great. But he will attest to this. A lot of what I do, and I say, man, I don't want people telling my kids my story per se. You know what I mean? So when they get older and say, oh, what did your dad do? Oh, my dad was a cop, or my dad did this. My dad was an electrician, this or that. That was always tough. But, when my youngest, Jackson, says, Daddy, what do you do in the military and stuff like that, it's hard to tell him, but it's easy to show him. You know what I mean? I said, I work with guys like this. And so when I get on Facebook and I say, hey, John Melson, and they see this guy, and I'm like, Jackson, that guy's older than me. So when they see my broke ass struggling to get up the stairs, and I say, guess what? You could have this guy. You know what I mean? And so you're one of them people, John, 100% that I use. I was like, look, man, he's doing it, but he's also doing it and doing what he's supposed to do. Shit, like I kind of got in trouble with it. I wanted to go out, and you can get this. I wanted to ride motorcycles. Once I got the fever, all I wanted to do was ride motorcycles. And even inside of riding motorcycles, just like, we'll talk more in the military, you can do this and then go this, and they want you, okay. And you forget about who you're leaving behind or what you're missing out on. Luckily I was caught really early in that process and said, Jay, you got to slow down. Look at these boys. And once I did look at my boys, it was so easy, and dogs and everything too. And that's something we're going to talk about. Guys like you and I, John, I think do a lot of thinking on our own. Right? We do a lot of thinking and questioning, what are we doing here? And if you look at those guys, and you've met a lot of them, I've met a lot of them in my time in the military, don't meet them on the outside as much. You probably ran into a bunch of them at the Sergeant Major's Academy. All of them got these weird little dogs that go with them everywhere. I don't, me, I don't have the degree. I can't tell you why. It's something.
Small dogs? Or
just a dog. No, just a dog. I call them weird because they're mine. He loves his dogs. I love my dogs. No, he's got some. What kind of dogs are they? Bulldogs, but are they special?
Oh, Old English.
Old English bulldogs. Like, the fucking mushed face. It looks like him. Yeah, like, they say you look like your dog. This guy. Look, man, you got the same haircut. Like this guy. And I was telling the story, John. We'll go ahead and start it. I think it was 2007 that I met you. You came from. Yep. Well, let's get a breakdown real quick. So you were in the Marine Corps, right? How long did you do in the Marine Corps? I'm gonna get to it real quick. To get to the soup to nuts. You were in the Marine Corps how long?
I did 3 years active duty back 89 to 92.
And then and that's why I graduated high school. See, now I put it together. And then you became a state cop, right?
I was a patrolman for Boston PD for
Boston
for a couple
PD.
Years.
So he had the hat, right? Boston, like if you ever watch TV shows, even to this day, right? They wear that crazy cap with the front on. Yeah. So there's some pictures of John like that. So he was a cop. And then at what, like 40? When I met you when you were 40, right? 2000 and...
No.
When did you come back in?
36. I came back in at 33, 34. So I came back in March of 2004.
2004. But I met you in 2007. So you were... Yep. So how old were you then?
We met... I was 36.
That's a monster. like took young kids out. Now we were a National Guard unit, you know what I mean? But a lot of the kids were young and from training, you know what I mean? And infantry kids, they weren't like, they didn't go to some of this training, but they were still soft. And this guy, like we're talking now, like I can see, but this guy loved it, loved just bringing the scunion. My old squad leader when I was a young troop, I had this squad leader, H-, and we're going to get him on here. He's great. Another fucking dumb, crazy ranger. Bring the scunion. Anderson, bring the scunion. And that's what he did. That's how I was trained. And then when I seen John, and this is something I didn't get to tell you, and I'm proud to tell you, man, that was something I saw that when I came to the Guard, I was like, oh shit, here we go. This is a shit show. I thought, you know what I mean? I thought I was going to have to be that guy, and I'm not that guy. I don't want to be the guy. Oh, I know what I'm doing. I kind of saw a lot of shit that I could change, but I also didn't want to step on toes and be that guy because I'd volunteered with the damn unit anyways, even though my nephew was in and all that stuff.
Yep.
So you had to make do. And this is a guy that came there, and we didn't have no trucks. We sucked at war, you know what I mean? We didn't have nothing. He's like, I'm going to get me a truck, man. And I just remember him telling me, yeah, these freaking SWIC guys, and I think they were support guys or something for like operators. They were happened to be on our fob. This dude gets a Humvee. not a golf cart or nothing. Melson had the coolest fucking Humvee. I remember that Hummer you had. Yeah, you got two, I think, by the time. Yeah, well, four for his whole squad, just in case he had a secret mission. This dude would bother units. He's like, I'm with these fucking candy. Look, let me go try to get on it, right? And I'm not telling stories. Like, this dude was looking for stuff, and the other platoon sergeants would be watching out for this crazy ass, is make sure he wasn't getting him into some shit. That was sometimes. So, and then in that, you know, and he came in, and some people won't know about this, but he came to, you know, and we suck, you know, the military. We judge a lot. We're the worst at being judgmental. You show up somewhere and you look, you're bald headed and a freaking meathead like this guy, you know, first day, you know, what if he could fight? You know, like, what's the story? But then we look at your uniform, right? That's what we do. We look at your uniform and we see your rank, and then we see your little it's still called additional skill identifiers. Yeah. See, look ASIs. At me. That's military shit now, V. So they have these ASIs, you know, and there's jump wings, and we're looking for EIBs and stuff like that. Now everybody better have a freaking CIB, or we're not talking to them. In my book, things might have changed, and that's where you're good. You know what I mean? Because I think the combat level is gone, is like ebb and flow, right? Whereas, so we're you're probably dealing with soldiers now that don't have as much combat as maybe 5 and 6 years ago when everybody had it, right? But not everybody wanted it. You know what I mean? And that's different. Yeah. I think, and I see you, and this is something I can tell you. I see those soldiers you send off to school. They want it. They still want it. I like it. And that's nice to know. With all that's going on in our country, Naveed, and he talks, and he's a civilian. He doesn't know nothing about the military. He's from freaking Pakistan. And all this stuff's got me wearing Haji pants and everything, man. I love it, dude. I'm living it every day, man, free balling. They don't understand that, you know, there's been times in the last year, John, where some people have come up to me and say, hey, man, you know, like, as if I know some people still in the military that would have inside knowledge on what the hell's going on. Like, what are they going to do, this and that? And I always say I'm not afraid, and I'm really never afraid, because I know what kind of people they got doing the job that needs to be done. You know that, you know. Yep. You're a stud to me, John, but you were in a classroom a month or two ago full of studs, were you not? Everybody there, right? Everybody there had done, you know, and that's the difference, you know what I mean? And those people, Naveed, are in the positions that my army is okay. And like I've always said, they've been doing it for 300 damn years. You do anything for 300 years, you perfect it. You know what I mean? Like they've been doing it for 300 years and not losing. So there we are. But so get back to the fun stuff. So he's 40, basically 40, 36. He's running these young guys like painful, whereas others, NCOs, non-commissioned officers, come to me saying, hey, Sergeant Anderson, did you see what Melson's doing? I'm like, yeah. Oh, so-and-so's going to say, like, not to say, hey, man, maybe what can I do to be more like that? Or how can I get my soldiers to behave like it? Because he had a team. He was building a team. They were pumped up. They were motivated. They were proud of being the group they were in.
What was different?
Who was in charge? 100%
leadership.
Yeah, and his type of leadership is what they needed. They needed someone to tell them to get off their ass. They didn't need some. I've worked with soldiers where I would just have to go up to them and say, man, so-and-so told me to get this done. All right, come on, Sergeant Anderson, let's go do it. You know, right? And I'm in charge, but they're the ones making me go do it. But that's leadership in its own sense. Whereas Melson's the guy that's going to yell at you and scare you until you fucking do it, or you'll die being scared of it. Like, oh, I was his age and he was scared. I'm like, don't. Hey, go ask Mel. Why do I got to ask him? He might be mad. You know, he's that guy. You know what I mean? Like, I try to keep it simple. But no, but he did. You did. You motivated a lot of people. And like, there's a lot of soldiers I see that are, like, here we go back to Facebook, even though they got me in jail, that I watch, and they were kids to me as soldiers, and you got to be proud of them. Just seeing like Cabby and that dude, you know, all them little young soldiers you had. Fam, what about Fam? He's a little hard charger, you know. He got, you know, just guys you never thought would be about it. They were about it because of you. I still think that, you know what I mean, and that's cool. And I carried that as a young. So you probably had your influencer, but like I said, I carried my squad leader with me all the way through everything. You know, even when I met you, I was like, oh goddamn, I'm gonna start it with one, I'm gonna end it with one. Fucking idiots. You know what I mean? But you know, real recognizes real. You know, there are a lot of people who do all that huffing and puffing that don't get shit done, man. Yeah. And those are the ones you hate. He's not one of them. So that's cool. So we did that. He's gone to airborne school since then. That's the jumping out of airplanes. He's a paratrooper, right? Ranger school. That's the most important leadership school in the Army. All facets of the Army and everything. Small unit tactics. You know, getting the men on the ground, those guys sucking the mud up. The leader of those guys is the guy that wears the Ranger tab. Sapper school, kind of the same thing, but for engineers. So the guys that blow shit up and go in and sneak, you know, just hard schools, right? And just anything the Army would give him to be a better leader, John did it. And not for the badges. He's 40 years old. We can relate, right? At 40 years old, I don't care what anybody thinks. You look at my hair and the way I dress, right? But, you know,
I wish I was 40.
Right, yeah, oh yeah.
You keep saying it.
Yeah, well then, you know what I mean? Shit.
Yeah.
Once you hit 40, we're good, dude. Like, right? Yeah, fuck it. I'm gonna hit 50 in 3 years, I'm gonna be 40 still. No, but seriously, like, you did all that stuff, and I personally, and this is just my opinion, believe you did it because that was you being the best at your job. You didn't want anybody, and I know there was some stuff that the Army just wouldn't let him do because he was overqualified or age. But yeah, you know what I mean? They definitely... If age is just a number in this guy's book, there were schools probably they wouldn't let you go to, right? But here we are. So what are you doing? You've gone through the Sergeant Major Academy. So are you a promotable Master Sergeant now, or are you a Sergeant Major all day long?
No, not Sergeant Major yet, but I am Master Sergeant promotable.
Right. So you're just looking for a job, and that's basically how it works. Yeah, like a job that fits his job description. You know what I mean? Like, the Army's not going to make a CEO the CFO. You know what I mean? He's got CEO skills, so we got to look for a CEO job. Or he's going to sit at his house and pet his dogs and tell war stories. And this is a guy. So tell me, this. And I didn't want to fill in the message. So you said something in a message to me today. You said that you were you volunteered to go somewhere else, right? How many deployments have you been on since you joined the Army?
9.
9 deployments, and this will be number 10 if you go.
Yeah.
And a deployment is how much? How
long? Normally it's like over in country, 10 to 12 months, and but then you have a train up, right? Is that how they're doing it now, John? Is it normal? Yeah.
So it's like a 10, 11 month rotation with like 2 months train up.
Right. So you're over there for 10 or 11 months, but you're training stateside for doing. And then like for a National Guard unit, for instance, they'll use that time to train for whatever their mission is per se, whether it be like route security or if they're, they're protecting a fob like we did, like, you know what I mean? Whatever it is, they train up for that mission. And a lot of times it turns to bullshit when they get there. So this deployment, is it back to Iraq? Where is it? Can we talk about that? Is it something we know? No. It's just somewhere. It's just an active duty job.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it was gives me an opportunity to perform duties as a Sergeant Major.
Yes. I say yes, but there's soldiers out there saying no, no. Because he lives by a different standard. Look, you know that whole thing. Hey, do as I do, not as I say. He's going to tell you to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and go run your dick in the dirt by yourself. And guess who's up at 5 o'clock in the morning running his dick in the dirt?
Probably 4 o'clock.
That fucking guy. Melson.
So John,
set me up for failure, bro. I was on the way out. This motherfucker's leading from the front. I was like, yo, I had this whole unit ready. Like, look, I was about to be the sergeant major of all the Maryland Army National Guard. This is where I'm going off on a tangent. This motherfucker spoiled it, man. He started making motherfucker soldier. Every day they were doing PT every day like we were in the real army, Naveed. We'd get up in the morning in the desert and run and do push-ups and sit-ups.
that wasn't normal. Like
that wasn't cool, man. Not now. Not where I had gotten to. Like look, I'd already gone through hard charge and everything, and I thought, man. And when I first I tried to go hard with these motherfuckers, but I wasn't the man that John was at the time. I'd been beaten down, dude. So I'm chipping at the wall, we're going hard. But if I go soft, guess. All right. So I joined the other team, but then he came along, so I started acting right. No, but but that's what it takes sometimes, right? Sometimes, like, even the best needs, right, John? You need motivated sometimes, right? Like, I'm sure, like, I used my biggest thing is to always say, man, I always knew in the Army that when I got cold, someone else was colder than me. Someone that I loved and cared about. My buddy, my gunner, whoever he was next to me, he's colder than me or he's warmer than me. This sucks more. That got me through. Hopefully they were thinking the same thing about me. Had we got together, that's why they keep grunts dumb. If we got together and said, yo, this really sucks, we'd have been out. They never let us get together and say, hey, this sucks. We were always confused at who was sucking more, that guy or me. Am I sucking or is he sucking? By the time you figured out who we were both sucking the same, it was time to index, right? Time to go home. Yeah, we always finished it. Good leaderships make sure you finish the job before you figure out you could be doing something else, right? So here we are. So I wanted to call John and get him on here and just find out, just talk to someone cool. What do you think about Afghanistan? Like in your opinion, like what do you think about what's going on over there? I know you spent some time over there.
Yeah,
you did work. You did real work over there.
Oh yeah.
And I believe, and isn't an opinion, not necessarily mine, that maybe a lot of the work that you did was undone in a very short time? I think we showed those people, and correct me, I think we showed those people what we could do for them. What's your...
So I spent 2 years embedded with the Afghan Army.
Here we go.
So my first year, I was on a full-man team, and I was attached to a group, attached to 3rd Special Forces Group in southern Afghanistan. Right. And then my next embedded tour with the ANA, I was attached to a team from MARSOC in Farah, Afghanistan. Right. I was part of an 8-man team. So being embedded with their army, right, and teaching
the ones they're talking about. That's who they're talking about. Yeah. That they're saying that don't want to fight and do that. I'm just putting that out there so you know. But go ahead. Yeah,
so you spend all that time with them, teaching them what right looks like, mm-hmm. right? And you're sharing the battlefield with them. So you're absolutely out there fighting side by side with them when we come into contact. So to look back now, even I hear a lot of veterans talking about how this is like a slap in the face and this and that. Like I look at it a lot differently.
Thank you.
If one of my buddies or a service member died or made some type of sacrifice and they're permanently disabled, lost their life, it doesn't change the fact of how honorable and proud that family should be for that sacrifice and the hard work that person dedicated and put in, because what's happening now does not change that effort back then. That person was hailed a hero. They're still a hero. What's happening right now, I see, is unfortunately, it's a culture thing. Mm-hmm. The commander-in-chief, I'm not going to come on. I'm not going to go on social media, and bash the commander-in-chief. But what I will say,
you're a soldier, you can't. That's something you can't do, and he can't.
But Jason, what I will say is President Biden has made some statements that wholeheartedly I believe in. Mm-hmm. When he says they had a 3,000-man strong army and that, they have to have the will to fight on their own. I agree with that.
100%. I agree with that too.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
So by sheer numbers, you would think that they would have outnumbered them and been able to outmaneuver a force of 75,000, right? So by spending those 2 years embedded, plus the additional 3 years that I did other tours over there and interacting with the ANA, we used to joke and say, working with them and training with them, doing missions with them was like herding cats, herding kittens, right? You get a box of cats, 1, 2, get out, you grab them, and then there's 3 kittens going the other way, and you're grabbing them, you're like, no, you got to keep them focused.
Right,
go this way.
Yeah, show them the boxes, keep them in the box. Yeah, they're my favorite memes.
So, like we spend all this time there, and all the blood, sweat, and tears that was put in was still honorable and hard work, and guys earned their paycheck, and they did the bidding of our country, right? So none of that should be degraded, and I think the discussion and the way people talk, veterans especially, like, I'm insulted, this and that. Well, what did you really do there to be insulted?
Right.
Because you shouldn't be insulted. You should always have pride in your hard work and reap the rewards of hard work.
And know who they're talking about, John. You work close with those ANA soldiers, and just like Iraqi soldiers. The soldier is a tough definition. An Iraqi and Afghan soldier is not the same as an American soldier. They don't live by the same values regardless. That's right. And guess what? I watched you train some of the best soldiers this country ever put forward, and you probably took forward and went and trained those soldiers in the same manner you tried with no prejudice. They were Afghan, they're American. It didn't matter. You were training them, like you said, to fight side by side. And I've witnessed what you do with the people you train. So their training is not the issue. Their will, their desire, their heart is another. And that's thousands of years of, I believe, inbred, how do we deal with the situation? I'm not saying they're scared. I'm not saying they're this or that. It's in their culture.
It's a different
in their culture. Yes, absolutely. Yes. And it's not in their culture to, regardless, to go fight that fight, apparently. And that's all. I'm not there. I worry about you guys that are there. I worry about the civilian contractors that are there fighting the good fight that you fought and are continuing to fight and wanted to continue to fight, and still, and you don't. Yeah, we're defending our country and we're following the orders of those, but you can't go there and be with those people and not care about them. You can't you can't work with people. I can't personally work with anybody and them not be my friend. I can't be around people that I don't get along with. We're either fighting or we're getting along, other words, but we're getting along. So I know there's some of that, but also inherent in that is we knew, anytime you leave a deployment, you leave people behind, right, John? You leave people behind, one way or the other. And how I was taught as a soldier to deal with it was rough in the beginning, but thank God I was taught that way because every loss would have been a lot worse. Not that they're not bad and they don't, like you said, each family should be proud of the loss and all that. The work we did was always good work. It was always 100% for the right, and you can't take that away from anybody, regardless of the end result. That's just like soccer.
Do you think families who have lost members look at this and say,
this is crazy. This is going to sound, this is, I don't want to, I'm not saying their opinion doesn't matter. Their opinion's coming from a place of not understanding. Is that sound, not understand? Not really.
No, but I'm saying like, if you lose a son out there.
Yeah.
And you see us pull out.
Right. And people hanging off of airplanes and the news saying that there's soldiers still over there and stuff.
Like the emotions are still
valid, the emotions, right? The emotions that anytime that comes up, anytime the word, like to me, anytime certain places come up, it automatically is a trigger to a thought. And I'm sure with those families, when they hear Afghanistan or they hear the word war in Afghanistan, or they hear people, anything to do with that, that comes up. And then you throw out what the media is doing, we pulled out and this and that. Those words alone, pulling out, is scary. We've been there for 20 years, right? So leaving any place after 20 years is scary. So these families, they have their place in all this too. But I worry about the guys that like yourself, and I'm glad you see it the way you see it. That you did the work you were supposed to do, and got the outcomes you intended to get, and that's all that matters. Now, what happens on the political view or what the country is saying about it, really, as a soldier, we have nothing to say, and it's good that we don't, because you got to do what you got to do, John. Come tomorrow, right? They may make the call, so. That's that. So we've gone over there, and this is another thing. Like, and that, and I'm glad we have, but not everybody gets in depth. They don't get that 10 minutes. We talked about this before you came on. Like, you meet someone new, the first 4 minutes is everything. You make this judgment, but maybe I ask you a question, John. I just met you. In the first 4 minutes, you give me an answer, and that answer just goes against all my values and everything. But I don't know where you're at. Your answer comes from, whether it come from previous hurt, previous relationships, or whatever. I don't have that information. So you can't do that. You know what I mean? So here, John gave us a good explanation of why a soldier who's in active duty doesn't see that as, a major misstep. Yeah, there's problems in everything we do. But we did the work we were supposed to do over there. Someone made the decision to pull these soldiers out. They're coming out, man. The rest of the stuff is just that. It's just stuff. You know what I mean? The important thing is bringing them home. You know what I mean? Then we get back to what do we do as a country to alleviate the problem we created by moving out? Well, guess who doesn't have an opinion? The soldier. They don't have an opinion. They shouldn't have an opinion. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, I think we don't have enough soldiers in the places they need to be making decisions where we're sending people, or maybe not the right soldiers. I can say that. Some people can't, you know what I mean? So there we go. Enough of that stuff. So John, what do I want to,
Jason,
go ahead.
Something I just wanted to say.
Say whatever you want, brother.
Your partner mentioned, and it's something that a lot of folks lose sight of. It's having that emotional intelligence to understand, hey, this is an emotionally driven
situation.
Event,
yeah.
Right? A situation, and you're going to incite emotional responses. So those Gold Star families, those families that are dealing with a loved one with a permanent disability or anything from what they endured in combat,
right?
Hey, that soldier, that Marine, that sailor, they're still a rock star.
Yeah, 100%.
Nothing of what happens today is taking away their rock star status.
And I'll fight for that.
American.
Yeah, 100%. I'll fight somebody over that.
And only they really truly understand.
Yeah, they get the real feel of this. Yeah. That soldier's hurt. That soldier's gonna deal with that every day. But they deal with, I got this now. I used to have that. Like, you know what I mean? They don't understand. Like, right? So some of us I got a friend that he's retired now, but he was the first amputee, I got him first amputee, jump master in the Army, SF guy, real stud. Called him Fatback, you know what I mean? He's one of those guys, you know what I mean? He's like, John, like, this whole situation is tough right now, man.
Hey, so I got something for you, Jason.
Yeah.
So right before I transferred to Mississippi Guard, I just came back from Afghanistan for my 2016 tour. I was still working at Fort Benning when I came back, and I was over on Harmony Church working out at the gym. Mm-hmm. And you're talking about an amputee.
Right.
You mentioned an amputee. There was a soldier. He was a young guy. He's kind of fit, waist up. He was really fit. I'd see him in the gym every morning, and he was on the treadmill, and he had one of those runner's legs.
Yeah.
Yep, he was missing from the knee down on one leg.
Yeah.
And his calf on the other leg, it was jammed up pretty bad. Looked like a shark attack.
Right.
So here I am as a first sergeant, and I'm dealing with soldiers crying about how they can't pass a PT test, and, height and weight. First sergeant, you don't understand. Now I got exposed to this young soldier.
You got new soldiers with big balls if they're telling you they can't do something like that. What's going on in the Army? Sorry. If I was your soldier, I'd never tell you no. Yeah, go ahead.
And I'm watching this kid learn.
Right.
He's very awkward. His running is all.
Yeah, his gait's all messed up.
I'm like 3 treadmills down. I'm watching him like, oh, is he going to be okay? And he fell. Mm-hmm. And he fell and stumbled off, and nobody did anything.
Right.
I was like, hey man, come on, let me give you a hand up. He's like, no,
I'm good.
I got it. I have to learn how to do this.
Right.
I saw him every morning, and every morning he would trip and fall.
Right.
and we would have a short discussion. And bottom line was, he was like, I have to learn how to do this because I want to stay in the Army.
Golly, man.
But you can't teach.
And I was like, oh, I'm like, I love this guy.
Right.
I don't know who you are, but I love you, man.
And you don't
like,
even know where he comes from. And that probably tells you why he got up. You know what I mean? And
that's that heart that we're talking about. We can't teach Afghans to have that heart and will to fight. This guy wanted it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
And yet we have soldiers, male or female, that haven't lost even a finger, and they have a problem with performing physical exercise.
I love that. You got to see his face when he says that. They do, and you know, and I'm not trying. Like, I'm not big on the old Army bullshit because my dad was in the old Army. So if I was one of those, hey, back when I was in one of those guys, look, 300 years, like it's only getting better. The Army is better today, regardless of all the bitching and complaining, than it was 20 years ago. That's how things go. It is. It's better today, even with all the bullshit. It's better today. You know what I mean? But let's clear the air. Let's clear the real air. Let's clear some American. Go ahead. Drain that thing, man. Go ahead. I'm gonna talk.
My dog.
His fucking dog. This guy. I'm checking out his house and shit. Look, hey,
what are you doing?
We're on Facebook.
Stop it. Stop. I'm sorry. My dog was crying in the other room.
Yeah, I got one of them too. Let her the fuck out, man. No, but look. This is what you heard. So this is the thing. How many poppy? Did you see a lot of poppy fields in Afghanistan?
Yes.
How many of them did you guard?
We didn't guard any.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Now, I didn't see any in the east.
Right.
And I didn't see any in the south. My 2008 to 2009 deployment, after I left you guys.
Right.
I was in Farah, Afghanistan, Western Afghanistan on the Iranian border.
Right. So
it was everywhere.
Right, but you know, like here in America, they believe that that's basically what the war was about. Was we were over there guarding poppy fields, and the best way I could explain it, and you can help me with this, and maybe this is something you can even clear up. But what I try to do is I say, look, if we were at war with Germany, or we went to war and we had to occupy Germany like we've done in the past, and we were protecting the community, and everybody, 75% of the community made bratwurst, guess what the fuck we were doing? We were defending bratwurst. You know what I mean? So in turn, yeah, those individuals that may have been poppy farmers or whatever may have been getting their security from the American forces, but it was never to protect those poppy fields. It was to protect the people or a region or something. Like, we're not. It's not that devious. I don't believe. You know what I mean?
So the poppy eradication, what they were trying to do,
right?
And it's one of those things in the military where it briefs really well.
Yeah, it sounds great,
but it doesn't execute well.
Right.
Right. So the poppy eradication was, let's get rid of the poppy, and then we're going to teach them how to grow potatoes or cucumbers or watermelon, right? Well, they can't survive economically selling potatoes like they would growing poppy.
Well, why the fuck not?
Right? Or to grow wheat. Now we're teaching them to grow wheat. We're going to burn down your poppy fields.
Yeah,
we just destroyed your whole livelihood, the way you make income. We just destroyed it, and we're going to show you how to grow wheat and potatoes.
Yeah,
and you know.
And guess what? Insurgents never did. Never burnt their livelihood, regardless of what their livelihood was. That's the problem. You know what I mean?
But okay. So when you get there, right?
Yeah.
And you're trying to do what John was saying.
What's that? Yeah.
Switch out.
Yeah,
it's like going to Mexico and saying get rid of the marijuana. And,
right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We're gonna
give you some fucking cornfields.
Right?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Like that was their cash. The growing poppy was their cash crop.
Yeah.
You weren't going to be able to replace it with potatoes and wheat.
Or nothing, unless your money.
How did they react to that?
Yeah. How did the locals react to you guys burning shit down? Well, I can tell you. You know, they didn't react anyway. The people that got to react, they even had an opinion, weren't the ones whose opinion counted, right? The Mukhtars and such, those people, they weren't never real. Like every once in a while, one of them counted, but really, What's that?
So, well, there would be photo opportunities.
Right. Yeah.
And it would show them mowing down a section of a poppy field.
Right.
And everyone would cheer and take photos with the local government.
Right.
And, you know, the DEA agents, everyone's like, yeah, we're doing good. And then, you know, like a shovel in the ground, like they're planting the first potato plant.
Sorry, it's just funny to think about it. Like if you, but
can you grow potatoes in the desert?
They growing anyway. Potatoes growing.
So then they would grow the potatoes in that section.
Right, but poppies all around.
Poppy was everywhere.
That's how you found the right poppy field. Well, we got 2 potato patches. Oh, I thought you had 3 potato. Okay, 2 potato patches and all the poppies.
I'd pay more for those potatoes just to see if there's some crossbreeding going on.
So anyway, look, let's talk about some more stuff. But like I skip around too much. And then, like I said, part of my journey in this podcast is to bring along cool people that have got cool stories. I remember. So one time, John, you were home. I think maybe you were on leave or I think you were on leave or something like that. And he used to have a chopper. Yeah, you still don't have it, but a real long stretched out chopper, like, you know, like Orange County kind of chopper, them big stretch out long ones. Really nice painted, had like the little red baron, right? I remember. Had the cool little bars, and he rocked this thing. Well, he was home, and you were on one side of the highway. You finished the story. Here's how it goes. Listen to this story. This is good. So finish the story where that woman had a wreck or something, right? There's a wreck. Listen to this shit. Go ahead, tell us.
So I was in between. I just got back from Ranger School.
See?
Right? A week before. I was down Cape Cod that morning at Pathfinder School. and I failed. I failed sling loads.
I can't count.
So they out-processed me. I went home and I was feeling like a turd. Right? And I live in Hyde Park. It's right in Boston.
That fucking tab didn't get you that shit, did it?
No. I was a strong ranger.
Right. Yeah. A smart one.
So I was like, oh man, I'm going to take a ride down to the marina.
Right.
And you know, I'm deploying in a week back to Afghanistan. I was like, I'm going to go down the marina, have a good night, relax, take the bike out.
Scare people.
So as I was going down the highway, in the Ponce River Bridge, it was 4-lane highway, and there were headlights coming at me.
Right.
You know, out in the distance. And I'm like, those are headlights. Those aren't brake lights.
They're going the wrong way.
And so I got over in the center lane.
Right.
You know, it was 4-lane. I moved over one, and then I saw the headlights, you know, jar.
Right.
And as I pulled up, she was into the guardrail. The front end of her car was all smashed in, airbags deployed, and a Harley Davidson was laying on the ground.
Oh man.
So then I pulled up and I saw the guy laying on the ground, and there was an SUV already pulled over, an older couple,
right.
And they were talking to him. So as I looked at them, I pulled my bike over in front of their SUV,
right.
And I walked back to them. And as I was walking back, man, I'll never forget. I looked down. It was like I was at an IED.
Right,
site,
like I said, it just happened. Yeah, I know.
So there was like pieces of flesh on the ground, and it looked like a chicken breast.
Right.
And it was his calf.
Right.
And I was like, oh man, this guy's gonna be
chewed up, right?
Messed up bad. I was like, oh, I hope I can help him.
Right.
And I come around, and a woman's holding a blanket over his thigh.
Right.
And he's you know,
in and out.
He's you know, complaining about how bad his leg hurts, this and that, and I looked at the old guy. I said, hey, can you call 911? He's like, I'm on 911 now on his cell phone. I was like, all right, I'm going to go check on the girl. I walked over to the girl. She gets out of her car. She's dazed and confused.
Right.
I just gave her a once over. She seemed fine. Small talk. She didn't even know what happened.
Right.
So she was coming up on the wrong side of the highway.
Mm-hmm.
I'd run back over to see the guy, and I asked the woman, because I couldn't see what was under the blanket.
Right.
I asked her, like kind of under my breath, so he wouldn't hear me. I said, "Hey, what's under the blanket?" And she just shook her head.
No, don't look.
And I was like, "There's nothing there." And so then I lifted it up, and just above his knee, he had nothing.
Right, cut his leg off. Mm-hmm.
So I was like, "Oh man, he's gonna bleed to death." There was blood all on the ground. Like he's gonna bleed to death. And I looked, and he had a belt on.
Right.
So I pulled his belt off, and I made a tourniquet around his thigh.
Right.
And and held it off, and then waited for EMS, emergency personnel, to show up, state police and everything. And that was kind of shitty. So like the EMTs and everyone come running up, the fire department, and they're like, all right, everybody get back. I'm like, I can't. They're like, listen, buddy. They're like, listen, buddy, I don't care how close friends you are. You need to get back. I grabbed the emergency, the EMT, and I was like, if I let go, he's going to bleed out. And I lifted up the blanket, and I was using my hand as part of the tourniquet.
Yeah.
And they were just like,
he got big hands.
Whoa. They're like, hey, get over here. So then they had to put something on to clamp it off. And then I was able to let go because as you know,
once you let it go,
because right before we left Afghanistan, we had Doc Muhammad, double amputee at the front gate.
Yeah.
We had a
tie him up.
Legs.
Yeah. Doc Mo.
So I was
concrete
like,
man. He got rich in concrete and asphalt, didn't he? He lost his legs in the whole deal, but hey, Doc had some money.
He was a human cannonball.
Yes, he was. We saw it first. But anyway, so you did this. So the guy, he turns out everything. What happened to him? Like, what's going on?
So they
saved his
took him by ambulance to the hospital. He ended up, some surgeries.
Right. Yeah.
He lived.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Saved his life. John saved this guy's life. Did they give you a soldier's medal?
No.
They should have gave him a soldier's medal. That's like the highest peacetime award like a soldier could get. Like you go help someone in the community, they give you that shit. But fuck a medal. What happened? Like then you deployed, right? So a week later you're going to Afghanistan. So you just saved some citizen's life. Blah blah blah. Goes to Afghanistan. Were you on leave or was it after the deployment that you got to go to the football game? When you went to the football game.
I went to the football. Yeah, when I was on leave.
So he comes home on leave. He gets to go to it was the Patriots, right? New England Patriots. They brought my homeboy up in the middle of the fucking New England, but have 100,000 people they get at the football game. All the millions and millions all over the world. My dude, Melson, they came on and just, he did good things for that guy. So that's him. So that was that. So that's the one story I like about that. What else do we got? So tell us about Muscle and Fitness. So and we could go on telling war stories. Like you spend so much time, you get to meet so many interesting people. You can tell, like I can talk to different parts of the country, not because I've been there necessarily, but I've met soldiers and people through my time. Him being one of those people from New England, but you know what I mean? These guys they're other people, you know what I mean? Like my fear was, what am I going to do after the Army? What's going to define me? And I still haven't figured that out. But this guy right here. So you did Muscle and Fitness magazine. So how'd that end up? Are we done yet? You were top 5, right?
Yeah. So I didn't win it.
Right.
But it's okay.
Yeah.
I was looking at the rules. The cutoff age was 40, and here I am 50. I was still hanging and banging. Right?
Stupid. You're dumb.
So,
I can't even follow the rules. Nobody did win. You should have won. No, but it was Muscle and Fitness. What was the contest for though? Like at home, like what was it? What was it?
It was just to be considered. There was a male and female counterpart to be, the most fit guy for,
it had a regular guy in top 5 of a 40 and below contest, and he's 50.
Yeah,
that's good.
It's embarrassing.
That's not embarrassing.
No, I'm embarrassed.
Oh, we should be embarrassed. Like me and you together, like we could kick his ass. Like we just sneak him. Be like, no, like And wait till I've got some military motherfuckers that are scary dudes. Like look at him. Like he's as soft at home. You know what I mean? His veins popping out. I haven't seen a vein, and that's another thing. This guy, so he's a crazy scar, right? Like. As if the world hasn't been against him enough, right? You've had a serious surgery, right? Your jugular or whatever. You know the vein you cut to kill people? You ain't got one, do you? Or something happened to it, right? Collapsed it or something? Listen to this story.
So after 9/11, I tried to enlist in the Marine Corps, and they put me in for a physical. I went down to MEPS.
Right.
And I went, during the process, I was at the very last
Everybody
station.
told him no, just to preface this, but go ahead.
and they were like, hey, you have a lump in your neck, and we're going to send you out for a consultation.
Right.
So then they put me in a van. They take me to Boston University Medical Center, and they did some CAT scans and stuff. And then it was just like, hey, has anyone told you have a mass in your neck? I'm like, no.
You thought that was
And they're
muscle?
like,
He
well,
thought he just lifted. It was
so they're like, it's stopping the blood flow to your brain.
Jesus, like it's so
I
many
was
jokes.
like, oh man. So I left mad. I was mad as a hornet. I was so mad. I went right to the VA hospital where I had been seen by my primary care doctor.
And like, why didn't you find this?
So, well, they wouldn't let me see him.
Right.
They're like, sir, it's going to be 7 months before you can see him. I said, I don't have 7 months. I said, I need to talk to him right now.
Right.
They're like, they were not cooperative. And I was like, I know. I said, forget it. I know where his office is. I'm going to stand outside his office. And she's like, I'm calling the police.
Right.
Do what you got to do.
Yeah. They've done that.
I sat outside his office and I was there maybe 5 minutes. And, I could see he was in because there were folders in his door. As one of the, older gentlemen, probably a Korean War vet or World War II vet, as he came out, I was like, hey, Doc, I just got denied for military service because of the lump in my neck that you've been telling me it's just a lymph node.
Right.
He hushed me in. Come on in. And so, I was in the hospital the next day to have a scope put up through my leg into my neck. And then I had to have surgery the next week.
And what'd they do?
So they said I had a tumor the size of a golf ball on my carotid artery. So they removed my carotid artery.
I'm not laughing, but I'm laughing. They removed his carotid artery. He's still breathing
crazy
and talking. Yeah, it sounds crazy.
And then
they didn't replace it with.
No, fuck no. He's just breathing. Go ahead.
So then they replaced it with a section of the saphenous vein out of my thigh.
Yeah.
So they put a vein up there.
They told you it was from your thigh. That's it runs right here from the edge, right? The scar goes to the edge. It starts right at your ball, though. You got a little bit of nut in you.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. He's got nut in his throat. Yeah, man, his carotid artery is just gone. Oh,
you didn't, and so John, you didn't.
I'm not even that high. No, he thought it was an extra muscle. He did it.
No, but if you were losing, if you weren't getting enough blood flow to
he did.
He
just thought he was dumb. I'm joking. I got a head injury, but that's serious talk, serious bullshit. Like a lot of my injuries and stuff, like, and this has to do, and fuck it, I sound like a fucking hypocrite when I get into this shit. But John, you can attest to this. A lot of it, and I never had an ailment when I was a soldier, when I was on active duty. A lot of this shit, when I'm finding when I have a problem with my back or my hip or something, or my shoulders, dude, it ends up being some type of circulation in the end of it. It ends up being I'm not cut. I'm like I'm not fully extending, or I'm not doing something correct that I'm cutting off the circulation. I think a lot of what ails us has to do with, like you said, like, you didn't necessarily know that. I didn't know that, my blood flow, my blood pressure in my right frontal lobe is not the same as it normally is, and that in itself causes issues. Who the fuck knows that? I'm a grunt, you know what I mean? I'm a grunt because I failed at other shit in life. Like, come on, man. Like, so we got this going on, but it makes a lot of sense. And
John, did you notice a difference after the surgery? Did you feel different?
Did you feel different? He felt smaller, man. These muscle heads, only thing, I just felt small. No, after the surgery, what did you feel like?
Oh, so after surgery,
I
had to go to speech therapy. I was in the hospital for a few months.
Right.
I had to go through speech therapy to learn how to
use the
control my tongue and to control my gag reflex. Like I couldn't eat solid food because I would choke.
So
everything was intravenous. So the speech therapy taught the muscles how to control my mouth again.
And he's not a small guy. So IV for me is like, you know what I mean? I get a little bag like this guy. You're feeding him trash bags for us just to keep him keep his eyes from going back.
I'm trying to imagine like
surgery in your throat.
Even if you just hold your neck down,
it sucks.
You'll get lightheaded.
Yeah. So he was just used to it. He's not a smart ranger. He's a strong ranger. He just there's probably 10 other situations in his life that he just muscled his way through. Yeah. You know what I mean? And my dad's one of them with his health issues that muscled his way through health issues. Oh, I feel like shit today. I feel better tomorrow. I guess I don't have the same issue. Guess what, dummy? You're so used to toughing it out. You just made your health issue something you're toughing yourself through. And now you got a health issue 10 years down the road. So that's something we dumb soldiers do that we can't help. But yeah, that, you know, and so we go to that. And so John is the coolest guy. And I'd like to show John too also something, Navid. He's the epitome, you know what I mean? Like soldiers have all these problems and stuff. And I bring them on here and they say, you know, well, soldiers don't make money and soldiers don't do this and that. And they always got a fat wife and they all got all these kids and da-da-da-da-da. Every single cool car that my 15-year-old has said, Dad, man, this is bad. This is tough. He's had them. At one point, he had 3 or 4 of them. I could click on Facebook and say, look right here. Look at my boy. Like, he like, oh, this rapper's got this. I don't give a shit. Melson's got bum, bum, bum. He's got the Mopar Nation. He had every cool ass guy. Now he's got 3 of the coolest baggers out there. You know, he's collecting Harley Davidsons. And for him, it's his shit. You know what I mean? He shows it off to his people on Facebook and stuff like that. But even bigger than that, to me, is, like I said in the beginning, John, is for my kids to witness. I'm a different story, but like to me, and like I've always said, if one of my boys, the 3 of them, one of them ever say I want to join the service, I'm holding his hand, I'm walking him down there, I'm giving him a ride. You know what I mean? There's nothing against that, but I also want to know that hey, all those things in life aren't about. You don't have to be a movie star to do those things. You have to play your cards correctly, and John is a shining example of that. If you know what I mean, a lot of times I can't go tell Holden, my son, I can't go tell him this about soccer. But if his coach does it, or if it's someone that he thinks knows something about soccer, even if it is, if I say, Holden, you're a better right-footed player. Dad, shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. But if coach says you're a better right-footed player, Dad, I'm better at my right foot. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's why I like to use these guys like this. And I'm using them. It's not using them. You know what I mean? I would, if John lived next door to me, we could kick it like this every night. You know what I mean? That's who you meet in the military. You know what I mean? It's a shame. And I'm just glad, John, that we can see face to face that I know for a dollar, if I ran into you somewhere at the bar, I'd be like, hey, John. And it's soldiers have that kind of bond. You know what I mean? It's not a work relationship. You know what I mean? I can't go and see someone I worked with McDonald's when I was a kid and say, hey, man, remember you were McDonald's? And have the same kind of bond. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's why I think this is good. So that's why I'm proud to be John's friend. What? Go ahead, Navi. You say what you want, man.
No, you know how they always say that you really learn somebody after traveling with them?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You get to know somebody and you travel with them. And soldiers, all they do is travel.
You know, I've heard like fighters, for example, they could hate each other in the beginning, but after they go through a real battle, boxers and
it's a mutual learned respect. You know what I mean? When you see when one soldier sees another soldier walking down the road, there's an instant, like sort of judgment that comes in.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's the follow-on. And the follow-on goes one or two ways. One is, let me learn more. Let's see what we have in common. Or, what in the hell? Let me tell you where you went wrong. You know what I mean? And in soldiering, John, and maybe this is where I was always good at it, is there's no difference. You're a soldier whether you're going with the good and making the good the best, or you're taking the crap and leading the crap. Someone's got to still lead the crap. Someone's got to make them be where these guys are. And the real leader treats both in the same, with the same, you know, knowing treatment and leadership are the same. Effort may be different. Right. So you know what I mean?
Two things to that, right? You said soldier a few times. So you and I have been talking for a few years.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the stories I've heard gave me a better appreciation for what you've done.
Yeah.
And what others like you have done. Which before that, listening to you, I had no context. He
judged me on this. John, see, this is where you... See, he met me, I was still a soldier. I showed up in dreadlocks and damn Dickie shorts and flip-flops, and everybody thinks I'm this cholo or something.
John, I told my wife... I think she spoke to you the first time or whatever, and I looked at, she came back up to me. This was soccer, and I said, "That's a fucking cholo, fake ass cholo."
Don't talk to him.
Don't talk to him.
And I drive an hour to get this treatment. Oh, and before, John, you know who's someone else who? And listen, so I drive. He's familiar with the area, even though he's from somewhere else. He came to a unit here, so he's sort of familiar. And we got certain friends. Remember old Boar Cove, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, listen, his daughter plays in the same club as my son, right? Yeah, so his daughter plays on Naveed's team, right? And so before we even did, he's telling me about this. Oh, there's this military guy with guns and shit like that. I'm like, oh my God, it's probably some fucking savage.
He doesn't have a neck, man.
Yeah, oh yeah, and he doesn't have a neck. Look, they're scared of Borco. I was like, oh, you mean Brian?
We had a parent meeting and
listen to this, yeah.
Things weren't.
We
going
gotta
right.
get him on here.
Yeah. That would be fun. And he just sits there and goes, "Look, if you don't fix this, and we don't have that conversation, there's gonna be a come to Jesus meeting."
This is Borco,
and everyone went silent. That was it.
So he's out here bossing around civilians. Look, now the Melson, me, you, Buzz, fuck, who is the other one? Couple of them guys sitting around, and fucking Borco walks in and says, "Hey, someone's gonna have a come to Jesus moment." Do you think it's gonna change the vibe in the room any?
No, but okay, so he was in his.
They done it up.
No, but
on
he had
him.
his
uniform,
right?
Yeah, he's so hard.
Before that, I saw him. He was in one of those like
polo shirt,
yeah, with the collars and stuff. I was like,
still the same goofy haircut, right?
Yeah.
Like, you look like G.I. Joe. Yeah.
You know where he is now, right?
Yeah, he's at NGB or whatever, right? Yeah, he's like literally I don't. Is his daughter playing anymore? Is she one? So she's still there. Look, it got so bad he doesn't come to soccer no more, right?
No. He was told not to come to soccer.
He was told not to come back.
Something bad was gonna happen.
By who? His wife?
No, by him.
By him?
Because he was, it was just a parent stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there was one person he didn't want to hear anymore.
Is that?
And he said, "I've refused to come."
See, he's he's playing a tough guy role.
I love him.
Love him. Right? Isn't that funny? It's a small world, dude. Well, look, man.
He's a full bird now.
Yeah. Is he would? Did he get pinned?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See,
John, I had a question.
That's
for
the
you.
change.
So
I did ask him if he needs a sergeant major.
Yeah.
And we lost our phone connection.
Really? Maybe I should pressure him. That would be a good fuck. We could have him right here, dude. We'd have all the security.
Did you guys serve together?
Yeah, Borco, yes, all of us. That's what I'm saying. We know him. We know him. Like I said, if he would have came in and said we're gonna have a come to Jesus moment, I would have told him shut the door and go have it with somebody else. But he's one of them though. You know what I mean? And he's a tabbed guy, so he conducted himself in a certain way, and that and it boils down to leadership, and we could go in and talk about that shit forever. But certain people in the military, and you can identify. A lot of times you could identify them by shit they wore in a uniform. Not all the time. You cannot always do that. But that first 4 minutes, you can normally tell. And anybody that's done any time with certain things on their chest or on their sleeves carry themselves a certain way and will only do certain things a certain way. That's just the nature of who they are.
Well, with Colonel Borkov, he's not where he's at for being a slouch.
No, not at all.
Right. So
no.
he's a
hell of a soldier.
He's a doer.
Yeah.
Right. So he's used to like, hey, this needs to get done. Like now, motherfuckers.
He pissed a lot of people off too. That was good. That's why we always got along. Yeah. Always for the right reason. Always for the right reason, man. Like when I got in, at that point, I was to the point where I knew what needed to get done. I was going to step out of my way to make sure everybody knew how to do it. If I could do it myself or with the kind of guys I trust, I was just going to get it done to get people off my back. You know what I mean? And that is a hit on me. Really is. Because I had young, impressionable soldiers. I also had two team leaders that were, you remember, Bobo and fucking dude, you know what I mean? I had two active duty team leaders that had these soldiers too, that been to the shit, that knew about it. So it wasn't like I was in a situation where you were with a bunch of dumb cherries that didn't know nothing other than what other people had told them that had just told them. You know what I mean? So it was different. It was a different situation. But, you know, and I don't know if you keep it, Bowman and I still keep in touch. All them guys are doing good, man. Like, everybody's doing good, you know, and we all left an impression on each other. Every little one has, you know, and it sucks that life pulls everybody so far away. You know what I mean? But imagine if you had everybody that meant something to you, John. You couldn't live where you live right now. You'd be too full up, man. But this is it. I hope one day, well, we will. One day I will see you in person and we'll get the big hug and all that and fucking talk shit and pet your dogs and everything, man. This has been great. I appreciate you coming on here. And, you know, anything, John. We're always here. I like I said, I'm following you. I can't comment or like anything you're doing now for another, I think, 19 days or something. But when Facebook allows me to, I'll present myself to you. And I'm proud of what you do. I'm glad to be your friend, and I love you, and I only wish the best for you, because the best for you is the best for all of us, because you're one of those guys that makes us all better. And you know, and you know, I'm questionable, man. You all better keep your eye on me. But this one, there's no question on what he's gonna do, man, and that's important to us. And John, thank you. Enjoy the rest of your night, and I love you, and see you later, brother.
All right, thanks, Jason. It's great talking to you, brother.
All right, we'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Okay, bye.
All right, let's figure this out now. There we go. He stopped it, so quality. Oh, man. So that was good, right? He's all right guy for a white guy. He's such a fucking meathead, man. Yeah. I got to pee. Piss break. Video on.